Hello and welcome to the daily number workout, fourth grade. Today we are on number 16. So let's get started. First with our word form. 16. Pretty easy one. All right, let's go for our factors. So we know it's 1 times 16 equals 16. 2 times 8 equals 16. 3 doesn't go into 16 because it goes into 15, then 18. 4 times 4 is 16. And since there's no other numbers between 4 and 4, we're done. Awesome. So since it ends with a 6 in the ones place, we know it's even because any number that has a 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 there is even. And we know that it is not prime because it has more factors than 1 in itself. All right, let's go for addition. So I'm going to move my paper up so we're completely in view. Take a second to clear out some of this stuff. Right there. All right. So let's check it out. 16 plus 1 equals 17. 16 plus 2 equals 18. 16 plus 3 equals 19. 16 plus 4 equals 20. 16 plus 5 equals 21. And remember, you can use scrap paper, whatever you need to get your answers. Always adjust for you. 16 plus 6 equals 22. 16 plus 7 equals 23. 16 plus 8 equals 24. 16 plus 9 equals 25. And 16 plus 10 equals 26. All right, looking good. Can move that up just a smidgen. Let's go on to our subtraction. And remember, subtraction is addition backwards. So we're going to use the same families here. And we'll start with 26 minus 16 equals 10. 25 minus 16 equals 9. 25 minus 6, oh, sorry, this should be 24. So if you make a mistake, you just don't erase, just fix it. Minus 16 equals 8. 23 minus 16 equals 7. 22 minus 16 equals 6. 21 minus 16 equals 5. And remember, we can always find our way with the numbers that correlate. 5 and 16, 5 and 16. So we can flip-flop that. 21 minus 5 equals 16. All right, we got 20 minus 16 equals 4. 19 minus 16 equals 3. 18 minus 16 equals 2. And 17 minus 16 equals 1. Boom. Good practice. Let's go on to multiplication. So here we go. This one's going to get tricky, so we're going to have to get out our scrap paper for this. 16 times 1 equals 16. That's our easy one. Then 16 times 2 equals, and if we come over here and write 16 plus 16, 6 plus 6 is 12, drop the 2, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, so 2 16s is 32. Then we want 16 times 3, that would be 3 16s, so we're going to add another 16 here, which would be 48. 16 times 4 can add another 16 here. 6 times 8 is, or I'm sorry, 6 plus 8 is 14. Carry the 1. 1 plus 4 plus 1 is 6. So that would be 64. Then we have 16 times 5. We can add another 16 over here. 4 plus 6 is 10. Drop the 0, carry the 1. 1 plus 6 plus 1 is 8. So it's 80. And we can keep going here with adding on the side. 16 plus 80. So that would be 0 plus 6 is 6. 8 plus 1 is 9. So 16 times 6 equals 96. And you can keep adding, but I'm going to go ahead and do multiplication here on my scrap paper. 16 times 7. So we're going to practice that way as well. And I'm demonstrating that as well. So we're talking 7 times 6 is 42. Drop the 2, carry the 4. 7 times 1 is 7 plus 4 is 11. So we have 112. 16 times 8 equals. So 16 times 8. 8 times 6 is 48. Drop the 8, carry the 4. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 4 is 12. So 128. 16 times 9 equals. So it's important to practice these because this is our basic facts. 9 times 6 is 54. Drop the 4, carry the 5. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 5 is 14. And 114, just FYI, is considered a gross in manufacturing. So it's just a fun fact. Fun fact, 16 times 10, of course, is the number with a 0, 160. All right, so we remember that all of our answers for multiplying 16 by all these numbers are multiples of 16. Let's move on. Ooh, that's a lot. Hopefully you got all that done before we even started and you just were making corrections or saying, ooh, I got them all right. Take your time, make sure you multiply, you add, you do it the way that makes sense to you, that you feel comfortable with. Eventually you'll do them all. So let's go on to division. So I'm just going to put it right here. We always divide into 100 and we're talking 16 into 100. So when we're doing long division, 16, we ask, does it go into 1? And we say no. So we put a little 0 up there to hold our place value because we want something above each one to keep track. And also when you're doing your long division, you want to make sure everything stays in a nice column. You don't want it all sloppy and wicky-wacky. 16 goes into 10. It does not go into 10 because we're doing this whole thing here. So now we put a 0 up here. Now we got the hard part is trying to figure out how many times does 16 go into 100. So lucky for us, we have our multiplication over here. So we know it doesn't go in 10 times because 160 does not come out of 100. 144, 128, we're going all the way down. 112 would not be able to take away from 100. So we're going to go down to here, 96. So we're going to do 6 times. So 16 goes into 100 6 times because 16 times 6, we know from over here is 96. So we're going to plop it right down, making it nice and neat. See how I've got my columns? I'm keeping them all nice and neat. And we're going to subtract that out. So we can't take 6 from 0. So we're going to borrow from the 10, making it 9 and making that 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus 9 is nothing. So 16 does not go into 4. So luckily we have 4 remaining. So 16 goes to 100 6 times with 4 left over. All right, let's move on. We're going to do our, I'm going to cover this up so I have plenty of room. We're going to do our measurement. And this is standard measurement, inches, feet, and yards. So if we have 16 inches, how many feet do we have? Well, it takes 12 inches to make a foot, and we have 16. And because this numerator is bigger than the denominator, that's considered an improper fraction. So we're going to break it apart. So 12 over 12. And if we take 12 away from the 16, that leaves us 4. So we have 1 whole plus 4 twelfths. So this would equal 1 whole and 4 twelfths of a foot. So 16 inches is the same as 1 and 4 twelfths of a foot. All right, so let's go on here. It's going to take 36 inches to make a yard, so we don't quite have enough to get a whole yard, so we're just going to leave that as is. We're just playing around, trying to make it simple with the feet. Let's go on to metric system of centimeters, decimeters, and meters. So if you didn't get that far, you need to write these down. Make sure you write these words out. It's so important to write the words out so that you understand and get the meaning. Here we go, 16 centimeters. CM is the abbreviation. So it takes 10 centimeters to make a decimeter. And look at here, we've got an improper fraction. The numerator is bigger than the denominator. So let's drop down and we're going to make 10 over 10. And if we take 10 away from the 16, we still have 6. So we have 1 whole with 6 tenths. So we have 1 whole, make sure your whole number is as big as the fraction, and 6 tenths decimeter, DM. All right, looking good. Let's go on. So we need 100 centimeters to make a meter, and we only have 16. So we have 16 hundredths of a meter. Moving on to our liquid measurement, talking ounces, cups, pints, quarts, and gallons. All right. Good way to practice and memorize our equations here. So we're talking 16 ounces equals, it takes 8 to make a cup. So we have 16 out of 8. Well, we have an improper fraction. So if we drop down here and we do 8 over 8, and then we say, well, if we take 8 away from 16, we get 8 over 8. Bada bing, look at that. We've got 1 plus 1 is 2. So 16 ounces is 2 cups. All right, we move on here. We have 16, and it takes 16 ounces to make a pint. Whoa, look at that. We don't have to do any work because 16 over 16 is 1 whole. So we have 1 whole pint. Then we go on to quarts. 16 over 32. We don't have quite enough to make a whole quart, and we're going to leave that at that. And then we have 16 over 128 of a gallon. So we have a partial gallon, a partial quarts. We have 1 whole pint now, and we have 2 whole cups for 16 ounces. Ooh, that was a fun one today. Let's go on to milliliters and liters. So if we have 16 milliliters, that would equal 16 thousandths of a liter. So we have our standard form, we have our metric form, and we are done with the number 16. I will look forward to seeing you again for the number 17 the next time we meet.